So client script, onload client script. So the script will execute whenever the form or record is loaded. And we have taken some use case, that is on this particular table. For new records, make the status read only and default the status to open. Okay. And for existing records, make the status editable and filter the status choices as shown below. So for example, if the existing record status is open, then show open and in progress choices. If the status of the record is in progress, then show in progress and pending and resolved. The status is pending, then show pending and in progress. The status is resolved, show resolved and closed. The status is closed, then make the status read only. Right. So we'll come back to this. So go to our table, right? So here on the status, so this is an existing record. So this is an existing record. And if the status is open, and what all choices that we need to show? Open and in progress only. So whereas I see other choices as well here, pending, resolved, and closed. So we need to remove them and we need to show only these two. So for example, status is in progress. So when the status is in progress, we should show only in progress, pending, and resolved. In progress, pending, and resolved. Open and close should be removed. Okay, open and close should be removed. For example, if it is pending, then we should show only in progress and pending. In progress and pending. The status is resolved, then we should show only resolved and closed, and we should remove all the other choices. Next, the status is closed, then we should make the status as non-editable and it should be read only. So that is our use case. Now, whenever you're loading the form, the system logic should check what is the current status. Based upon that, choices should be filtered. Okay. Whenever you're loading the form or opening the form, the system, that means the logic that you're writing should check what is the status presently on the record, and based on that, accordingly, it should filter the choices here. Great. So let's work on this. So our script should execute whenever the record is loaded or form is loaded. So we should work on a client script because we are not saving any form here. We are just loading the form, right? Upon load of the form, we want to read the record, field value and the status, and accordingly filter the choices. So, so we should use client script here for this. So configure client script. Click on this. So there are no client scripts here as of now. We did not configure. So we should create new one. So click on new. Right. So filter choices based on the state or status, right? So this is the name of the client script that we are giving. On which table we want to execute this client script. So this is the table. UI type. So basically, this record could be opened or accessed from different platforms. One is from the desktop, that is from the native view, and other is from the service portal. Okay, if this table is given access at the service portal level, so then even there this form will be opened. And if the form is accessible on the mobile platform, then you can open in mobile as well. So whatever the script that you're configuring, that script should execute in all the platforms or on specific platforms. You can mention here UI type, in which platform this script should work. Desktop means if you are logging in from the desktop or laptop, then the script will trigger because UI type is desktop. Mobile and service portal. So if you're opening this form, testable2 form from the mobile device or from the service portal, then this client script should execute or validate the state choices. And if you say all, it means the client script should execute in all the platforms like desktop or mobile or service portal. So that's the meaning of UI type. And then type. What type of client script we want to configure? This is there are different 4 types here. So we should configure on load because upon load of the record or a form, we want to execute the logic. And then check this too. So it is by default active true. Keep it as it is. Save. Right. So next, after saving the client script, so scroll down. Here is a place where you will write this script. Getting it? Here we should write this script. So first, whenever you're working on any requirement, first build the approach. Build the approach. That means how do you want to achieve this use case? Getting it? Build the approach. First, what do you do? So since you're writing the client script on the same table, what you can do directly, you can do this way. Read the status field value on the on the current record, right? After reading the status value, verify status is open. Then show copy all this. I'll put multi-line commenter here. No, single line commenter should be sufficient. So select all, can say toggle comment. Now, so this should work only for the existing records, right? For new records, status defaulted to open and make it read only. Make the status read only. Getting it? And this should work for the existing records. Right? Now, observe carefully. How am I writing the script here? So, first I need to verify if the record is a new record or existing record. So, verify that. So, can do this way. So, we already learned if, right? In the conditional statements, we already used if. So, you can use this if, right? So, in order to read the record values in the client script, you have to use g underscore form in order to read the record values in the client script. We have to use g underscore form. So something like this, g underscore form. Okay, so g underscore form dot. Okay, so there are different methods here which can support you to write this script in client script. Okay, each and every method has its own purpose. We'll talk some of the important methods, okay, in some time. But right now, so I want to verify the current record is a new record or existing record. So there is a method here called is new record. Okay, there's a method called is new record. Dot is new record. Just a minute. I'm not able to show you the complete description of it. Right. See now. So whenever I'm placing the cursor on this is new record, it says returns true if the record has never been saved. Has never been saved means it's a new record. So if it is the current record is a new record, the result will be true. If the it returns false, if the record has already been saved, that means for existing records, the result will be false. For new records, the result will be true using this method. Okay, using this method. Right. So Control X, keep it here. So this will return you true or false based upon the current record. So it will be true or false. So assign this value to a variable. Say variable record status. Okay. Record status. Is it a new record or existing record? True or false, you'll get it here. Okay. Record status flag. I'll say this way. Getting it. So now returns true or false. Getting it. So now if this is true, then this is a new record. So if it is true, for example, if value equal to true, right? So I'm using if statement, I'm using condition here. If this value is equal to true, then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to default the state to open, make it read only. So default the state to open. Say you have to use again g underscore form because you're working on the current record. Dot. So default to open. So you can use again methods here. So you want to set the status with open. Set the status with open value. So you can use a method called set value. See here, set value sets the value and display value of a field will be displayed if there is no value. So basically it is used to set the value on the field. So use it. And what are the parameters that you need to pass to the set value? Field name, which field you want to set, on which field you want to set the value, value, what value you want to set, what value you want to set. Getting it? So I want to set the status with what value? Open. So put it in single quotes because this is a field, string field. I mean, not only string, it can be, it is a field, right? So always have to give it in the single quotes. Value should also be in the single quotes. Always give the backend choice value. Always give the backend choice value. See here, open. So this is a display value, but backend value is something different. Go to configure dictionary. Scroll all the way down. See here, open is a label, value, backend value is small o, open. So that's what I'm doing here. So after setting the value on the field, what do you want to do? Make it read only. So say g underscore form dot set read only. So there's a method. So you see here, the set read only method, what is it saying? Returns true if the, so if you pass true, it will make the field, sorry, makes the field read only. So still there is some more text here before this particular if line. If, right. So makes the field read only if true. Okay. If you're passing true, then the method will make the field read only. Makes the field editable if false. That means if you're passing false as a parameter to this method, then it will make the field editable. So what our use case is making the field read only. So we should pass true. Observe carefully here. Say g underscore form dot set read only. It's not showing any suggestions, but parameters should be the field name. Which field you want to make it read only? Status field. And what do you want to do? Make it read only, right? So pass true. So true means makes field read only. False means makes the field editable. Getting it? Up till now clear, everybody? Initially it will be a little difficult to understand, but as we move on, you'll understand the concept and the scripting slowly. Okay, so you have to have patience to learn this scripting. Is this clear, guys? Any questions here on the script so far? All right, so this is for new records. Getting it? So you see here I'm adding few comments here using two forward slashes. So this is called commenting the lines. So whatever the text that you write after two forward slashes, the text will not be executed. Only uncommented lines will be executed. Again, here is a comment line. So from double slash to forward slashes till the end, this will not be executed by the JavaScript. Right. Next, go to the other one. First, try this. So try this section first. So for new records, we want to make the field defaulted to open and then it should be read only. Click on new. See here, status is read only and it is defaulted to open. Reading it. First thing is completed. Next, verify for the existing records. Say this is an existing record. See here, status is editable, right? So for existing records. So go to the script again. So work on this. So for existing records, so you already checked for the new records, right? So it is returning, if it is returning true, this code of syntax will be executed. Else, else means if the result is false, that means this result is false. Then we'll come to else case here. Else. Okay. Else. So now verify for each status. What is the status here for the current record? So now you can say something like this. Variable status is equals to, how do you read the status field value? Again, you have to use g underscore form dot. So you can use, in order to read the status value, in order to read the current status value, you have to use a method called get value. See here, get value returns the field, returns the value present on the specified field. Get value, get value, set value. So get value. So you have to pass the field name from which field you want to read the value. So pass the status field. Getting it? So now we read the status value or returns the value on the status field. Next, if the status of the record is open, the status of the record is open. For example, so status. So put everything in the else. So if the status of the record is open, that means, so what are the value that you get here? for the status, you're storing into a variable called status. So verify if the status equal to, put it in the single quotes. So open, right? So status is a variable, that's why I'm not putting in the single quotes. So the variables should not be placed in the single quotes. Variable should be without single or double quotes. And the value should be in the single or double quotes. Right? So we are checking the status is open or not. If it is open, then show only open and in progress. Then show open and in progress. So basically, the status is open. I want to remove pending, resolved, and closed choices. Pending, resolved, and closed choices. So what you can do? You can use some method. Say g underscore form dot. So in order to remove the option from the field, so you have an option called you have a method called remove option. Removes a specific option from the choice list. Click on this. So which field and which choice you want to remove. So which field we want to remove? On which field? Status field. And what choice we want to remove? Pending, right? Pending. Once again, remove option. So field and then choice value. So which field? Status. U underscore status. Which choice? Pending. Getting it? Similarly, remove other choices, that is resolved and closed. Resolved and closed. Right. So when the status is open, we are removing these choices. Fresh. So for now, change the status to open. Right. So this record status is open. So what should happen? See here, shows only open and in progress. All the other choices are removed. Getting it? So if you say in progress and then save it, so if the status is in progress, then all the other choices are showing up. Only when the status is open, we are removing the other choices. See here? Any questions, doubts here? Everybody clear? Others?
Yes, sir, clear.
Now, this is for the status is open. Next, let's work on the other status. So, in progress, right? For the in progress. So, else if, right? Else if status equal to in progress, in underscore progress. right? So status is a variable and I'm checking status is in progress or not. So what are the options that we need to show? So we need to show in progress, pending and resolved, and other choices should be removed. So G underscore form dot remove option, which field? U underscore status, from which field? Status field. Which choice we want to remove? Open. G underscore form dot remove option, which choice? And we want to remove closed choice. Okay, say closed. Right. So this is what the two options that we are removing for the in progress. Select in progress, save. Some problem. Verify the choices. So it is, there is a space here, you see. So ideally there should not be any space. Alright, I think we can keep space, no problem. Copy this as it is in the client script. You see, I gave underscore. So replace it with in progress. Right. Now verify. See, now it is showing only pending and resolved. Open and closed choices are removed. Right. Next. Check for other. So else if status equal to pending, the status is pending, then you should remove. So we can copy. So removing the open choice, removing the other choices. So like resolved, then closed. So these choices I am removing. And for other, that is else if, say resolved, for resolved condition. So remove all, like open, remove open, in progress, and then pending, right? And for closed, remove all the choices, right? Remove all the choices. And make the variable, make the field read only, right? Set read only, which field? Status field. say it as true. So here you see here, I'm not passing true in single or double quotes because observe carefully here, g underscore form dot set read only. Sorry. See field name and the value is boolean here. Boolean means true or false. Normal string value you can pass it in single or double quotes, but boolean value always you should pass without single or double quotes. So booleans will have two values only. One is true and other is false. Only these two will be the boolean values. So we want to set the field read only. So that's the reason we are passing true. So don't put that in the single or double quotes. So with this we are added all the condition. Save. Verify. So it is in progress, right? So make it pending. Save. See, pending and in progress. Only these two choices are showing up. Say in progress. Next, say resolved. So resolved and closed. Say closed. See, field is becoming read only. Is this clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Practice is important. Okay. Immediately after this session, right? You need to take some time and practice. Otherwise, all these things will be forgotten. Others, any questions so far?
No, sir.
All right. So next we'll work on other client script, that is on change. On change. Okay. So this client script will execute when changing the value on the field. Okay. So this client script will execute when changing the value on the field, after changing the value on the field. For example, observe carefully. So this client scripts are going to execute based upon the actions that you generally do on this particular records, right? So on change, for example, I'm not able to edit this status, so I'll go back to the table. So whenever you're changing the value, see, you're selecting some value, new value, right, from old value. So whenever you're selecting some new value, if you want to execute any logic, then you can use on change. Not only the drop downs, but also, for example, you're adding some value. That means you're changing the value on this description. Initially it was empty, now you're adding it. So that means from empty to some valid value, you're changing the value. So in that case, you can, if you want to execute some logic, you can use on change client script. On change client script will execute when a value is changed on the field. When a value is changed on the field. Clear? So let's take some use case. So we already learned about this on change while discussion on the tables. So we'll once again come back to this. So observe carefully, reported user, changing it to some other field value. I think we didn't discuss. That's why it's not actually working. Right. So observe carefully here. Whenever I'm changing the value on the reported user field, right? I'm selecting basically users here. Getting it? Any user. Can select any user. So whenever you're selecting or changing the user on this field, whenever you're selecting or changing the user on this field, so what you should do, you should populate these two fields. Should populate, auto populate these two field values. So with what value I should populate? So users manager. So whoever is the manager of this user, the manager name should be shown here. Similarly, email address. So if you want the email address of this user, can pull it from here, user record. See here. So pull this email address and then set it here. Getting it? So that way you want to so if you want to pull out the values from the selected record, then populate these field values, we can use on change client script. See here, I'm changing the reported user value. Whenever I'm changing the value, I want to execute the logic, client script logic, and populate these two fields. Getting it? So for which I can use on change. Why only on change? I'm changing the value on the reported user field, and immediately the logic should execute upon change of the value on the field. Clear? So what you can do again, so type client scripts here. Click on new to create new client script. Copy the table name. So give some meaningful name here and then select the table name. So first I'll select the table name. Give some meaningful name. Say populate manager, email based on reported user. Okay, based on reported user. So UI type should be all. Type of client script, that is on change. Okay, save it first of all. Right, save it. And here is the script that you need to write. So function on change, because we are working on change, right? So function on change. These are the parameters. These are the parameters for this on change function. One is control old value, new value, is loading, is template. So out of these, old, new, is loading is important. You can ignore others. Okay. So what is old value parameter, new value parameter, and then is loading? So old value is nothing but, so for example, I'm saving it. So old value means the value that was already present on this field, on this record. Value that was already present on this field for this record. So if you're selecting some new value here, right? You're selecting somebody here. So whatever the value that you're selecting, that is called new value. Whatever the value that you're selecting, that is called new value. And whatever the value that is already present, that is called old value. Getting it? So old value is by default present on the existing record. New value, you are selecting them, okay, manually. Is the difference clear? So that's about old and new value. Next, is loading is a parameter to identify if the current record is loading or not. If the current record is loading or not. And if you want to execute the script, if you want to execute the script on load as well, then you can use is loading as a parameter. If you want to execute this client script upon load as well, then you can still use is loading as a parameter for considering that the record is loading and you want to execute the logic. Getting it? So for now, you can ignore this. We'll come back to this. Write the script. So the value selected on the reported user should not be any empty value. It should be a valid value. It should be a valid value. So what you could do first, read, build the approach, read the values selected on the reported user field. Read the value selected on the reported user field, right? And then how do you get the manager? How do you get the manager and email address? From this user record, you have manager and fields. See here, manager, it is empty, and email is a field. So these are the two field values. So these are the two field values you can read from the current record and then set it onto the fields. Fetch the email and manager from the referenced record. Set the manager, comma, email on the respective fields. The record. So first read the value selected on the reported user field. So what is a method that we used previously to read the value present on the field? In the last script, if you remember, we used one method to read the value from the field. Anybody? So we used get value in order to read the value present on the field. But here, so for normal fields, you can use get value method, but for reference fields, you cannot use get value as it's directly going to get to you the sys ID of the reference record, but we do not want that, right? We don't want sys ID of the reference record on the reported user field. Rather, what we want is we want to read the reference record on this particular table. We want to read the reference record in this particular field. Now, how do we do that? So observe carefully. For reference fields especially, use g underscore form dot get reference. So get reference method, okay, using a callback. So use g underscore form get reference method for reference fields. Getting it? So how do you read that? So you can say something like this: g underscore form dot get reference. Which field we want to read? U underscore reported underscore user, right? So here you will get the object here, basically reference record object, and put it in the on a variable, say variable reported user. Getting it? Variable reported user. So this variable now has the object of this particular record, value selected on this record. Now that means this field is now reference to this Prithviraj, right? So now whatever the value that you get here, that will be the object of the record that is selected on the reference field. So now next is fetch the email and manager. So here get reference should be used using a callback function. Using a callback function. So at the end you can write callback. So this is a callback function name. Not only callback, you can give any name. Say get user details. Getting it? So this is also you can give. So this is actually a function. Did we discuss about functions in the JavaScript basics? I think we missed it, right? Anybody remembered? I think we did not. Right, I think we missed it. Functions. So we'll come back to this on the next class. So we'll discuss on functions. That's also important. So after discussing that, we'll come back to this because we need understanding on functions. Clear? Anybody has any doubts?
So can you send that script in chat?
The old one?
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
Right. Any questions? All right. Thank you.